You're looking live at Memorial Gym here in Kokomo as we bring you live coverage of the final two games of the first day of the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament here on the IHSAA Sports Network, as Hanover Central, who lost earlier this evening against Merrillville, will be taking on the New Haven Bulldogs, who lost earlier to Kokomo. Alongside Michael Watts, I'm Kurt Darling, Coach. A pleasure to be back with you here on IHSAA Sports Network in a historic venue such as this. Consolation rounds here, these two teams looking to kind of avenge some misfortune earlier on today.
Yeah, first of all, great to be here as well in this great facility. A little bit of a unique situation in these holiday tournaments. Both teams have already played today. I guess the best thing about it is you can maybe get the bad taste out of your mouth and you get to play again right away and don't have to wait a day or a week and can try and play again right away.
Of course, with this morning's loss, Hanover Central now 3-3 on the season. Their second loss in a row earlier, 44-39 to Merrillville. When you take a look at a couple of these players in particular here, Coach, Brad Rohde, certainly one to look out for, standing 6'5", averaging 16 points a game a season ago.
Very impressive numbers, nice size, and can score on three different levels and kind of leads that team for sure.
Meanwhile, New Haven on the other side of the coin, certainly a little bit to know about them as well. Earlier today, Tarvar Baskerville had 18 points, but also so did Dalen Jackson. Those two players really shot very well. In fact, Jackson in particular, Coach, was 8 of 9 from the field as a whole, so he's certainly one to watch out for when it comes to shooting the basketball.
Well, New Haven certainly is not going to come in here intimidated at all with the schedule they play in the Fort Wayne area. This venue won't bother them. Lots of great gyms up in Fort Wayne. Look for them to get off to a quick start here in this consolation game.
New Haven had won 3 straight games, all of them against Homestead, Belmont, and Fort Wayne Concordia, before losing to Kokomo here in their home gym earlier this afternoon. Of course, these two teams certainly under good coaching. In particular, New Haven under first-year head coach Brandon Appleton, who, of course, made the transition from Angola to New Haven to come and coach this squad here in New Haven. Certainly off to a so-so start here at 4-4, but still at 39-64 in his 5th year as a head coach here in the state of Indiana. Bradley Stengel, the head coach of the Hanover Central Wildcats, he is now working to try and get win 122 under his belt in his 9th season as a head coach here at Indiana, his 4th here with Hanover Central. These two teams certainly trying to get the job done here today after losing earlier today. We're underway in the first of the 2 consolation ladder games here this evening here at Kokomo. And already working things up top here is New Haven, in particular DeMarcus Wright, but also Darian Cryer, who had 8 points earlier today. He holds it at the top of the key here for New Haven.
The quick turnaround, it'll be interesting to see here, Kurt. Not a lot of scouting, have a chance to go on. You don't even know coming into the game who you're going to be playing, so you kind of just have to trust your system and use your plays that you've practiced on before and your defensive principles.
Also conditioning, a little bit of a concern as well. When you were coaching, what was one way you kind of kept your players in check when you go through these holiday tournaments like this?
Yeah, you kind of tried to sneak some things in maybe without even telling them. We always just worked on the first team, but maybe you work something in here and there, and you just know that the other team's under the same situation, so the fatigue is definitely not a valid excuse.
Well, Tarvar Baskerville doing what he did in the first game, and that is score. Only a sophomore. He had 18 points in that game earlier today. He now has the first 3 for New Haven. We get our first look here at Hanover Central, wearing the baby blue North Carolina, Indiana State colors, as you might say. And going right to the rim that time was Henry Maurer. He couldn't quite get the job done there. An empty possession for Hanover Central. And back the other way comes Darian Cryer. Hanover Central now. Here is Brad Rohde using that big frame, and he goes right to the rim, and he'll get an and one opportunity.
Trying to establish that inside presence, go right there, right to the bucket, put some pressure on the defense. He's got a chance to cut this lead to 2.
Brad Rohde had a season-high 28 points a season ago against Lake Station in the sectional semifinals, so he knows how to put points on the board, as he does right here for Hanover Central, to cut it back to 5-3 here in the early going. Here is Lavelle Ledbetter using a big frame as well. Back up top here with Cryer. Cryer with a right hand inside, trying to go on the mismatch there. And you see that big body of Brad Rohde certainly making his presence known, but also a foul coming up here on Hanover.
Cryer very aggressive early, putting pressure on the basket, looking to penetrate. Hanover's going to have to deal with that tonight with that dribble penetration.
And so the first foul shot is up and no good there for Cryer. The foul goes against Braylon Svek, his first foul here for Hanover Central, the first by either team here in this contest. Of course, New Haven looking to try and make a comeback or looks for some reinvigoration, so to speak, having not had a winning season since 2020 when they went 15-8 that year.
Full court man-to-man pressure by the Bulldogs from New Haven here, trying to speed up Hanover Central.
And Svek nearly travels in that regard. Instead, his teammate travels underneath. That is Luke Ondo, the 6'3 senior, turning the ball over. But already you see New Haven applying a little bit of pressure, as you mentioned there, Coach.
Just trying to speed the game up a little bit. It's not always for steals. Sometimes you're just trying to increase the pace of the game and speed the other team up.
Going off the right side here is New Haven. And working the ball underneath that time, that is Dalen Jackson. New Haven working inside, and a big block up that time there. Again, it's Jackson interfering as Rohde tried to get it inside. And floating inside that time was Baskerville. He's off the mark. The follow-up shot does not go for Ledbetter.
This is the great thing of these holiday tournaments. You get teams that don't normally play each other, styles that don't always play each other. New Haven obviously trying to pick up the pace a little bit, while Hanover Central wants to throw it down to their big fella underneath.
Braden Svek up and in there that time for Hanover. So that's his first bucket of the afternoon.
Hanover Central with some nice length on the perimeter. That was a nice finish by Svek.
Working the ball off the right side that time is Cryer. And no dice again as they certainly are not afraid to attack inside these guards here for New Haven.
They definitely want to put pressure on Hanover Central's guards. We'll see if that gets them to the free throw line often tonight.
Spinning inside there that time was Luke Ondo, and it gets touched out of bounds, and they say that it will stay here with Hanover Central. Well, last season, Hanover finished the year winning 7 of their last 10 games, including a 67-66 double overtime win over Illiana Christian in their regular season finale. Unfortunately, it came to a premature end for Hanover Central as they lost in the sectional first round, as Rohde gets it up and in there to cut it to 1. And a hard play going to the basket that time is Lavelle Ledbetter.
Svek tried to stick his nose in there, take the charge. He was a little late under the rim there. Even though the high school doesn't have the half circle, I think it's pretty understood by most officials that you're not going to get that call if you're too far underneath the basket.
So here is DeMarcus Wright, a 6'1" junior, and not the best of foul shooters here for New Haven. In fact, on the season, they are shooting just 57%. So foul shooting not exactly the greatest thing here for the Bulldogs.
That'll be interesting to see if that comes into play here at the end of the game if for some reason Hanover Central's behind and they need to foul.
And 2 missed foul shots there for DeMarcus Wright. Hanover Central with a chance to take the lead for the first time here this evening. This is Maurer, and he turns the ball over right into the hands of Cryer, who comes screaming down the right side and puts it up and in, and they're going to call an offensive foul on Cryer. A little out of control there that time was the guard.
He is, and I don't know if he is out of control as much as sometimes you just look out of control as he's bouncing, but that's not going to stop him. He dribble penetrates a lot. He's going to continue to take it to the rim hard.
So a competitive ball game here in the early going. 4 minutes, 13 seconds left to play here in quarter number 1. And into the ball game here for Hanover Central is Owen Sosnowski, a 6'2" junior.
Rohde does it all, bringing it up against the pressure a little bit as their 5-man doesn't extend his pressure.
Well, that's one thing about Brad Rohde and talking to Coach Bradley Stagel is the fact that he is just such a good athlete in spite of the fact of the way that he looks on the court. He certainly doesn't ooze athletic ability when you're looking at him, but he certainly is a surprise, to say the least, when it comes to certain players.
Yes, does a nice job underneath the basket. Has finished already with both hands.
Rohde puts it on the floor. Nearly gets his pocket picked that time as he leaves it for Maurer. Around the horn this time is Maurer on the give and go inside to Rohde.
Nice high ball screen up top. Rolled hard to the basket. Nice feed by his teammate.
First lead of the afternoon here for Hanover Central, going right to the rim. That time was right. And this time they are not going to get an offensive foul. Instead, it is a foul coming up here on Hanover. And this will be Rohde picking up his first.
Nice play there. Design play, what's called chin action, made famous by Coach Altman at Oregon, where you got that ball screen up top and good hard roll, and they know what they're looking for when Rohde rolls to the basket.
Well, Wright makes up for his missed free throw, at least one of them anyway. The first time, he now is 1 of 3 at the charity stripe here in this first quarter. And the second foul shot is good as well for Wright.
Not trapping out of the full court pressure, just kind of putting some pressure on. It'll be interesting to see if they do run and jump sometimes, if they have areas in the trapping areas to trap.
Maranowitz blocked from behind, but a 3-ball subsequently goes up and is just off the mark for Hanover Central. And we'll see, and it'll be New Haven basketball going back the other way. Well, Hanover Central certainly seems to be actively trying to give themselves second chance opportunities whenever they have the ball.
As mentioned earlier, they do have some length on the perimeter, so it's a good idea to go try and keep that ball alive and get a second chance opportunity.
Here is Baskerville. He was just 1 of 7 from behind the arc. He can shoot the 3-ball if he needs to. And he does just that, and he knocks it down. Again, only made 1 3-pointer the entirety of their game against Kokomo earlier today, and he has a big one there.
Hanover Central just gave him a little too much space. Nice backdoor play.
Speaking of space, plenty there for Benjamin Schreiber to get his first bucket. And trying to attack that time, they're going to call an offensive foul here on Lavelle Ledbetter. An emphatic one, to say the least.
Yeah, he's kind of he's a big young man there, and just a little bit too much, lowered the shoulder. But I think Coach would take that because he wants to be aggressive. He wants to continue to attack the basket. You're going to give up some offensive fouls if you do that.
And a bad turnover there for Hanover Central as Maurer tried to get it into the hands of Luke Ondo. A senior-heavy team, Hanover Central, as they have 7 players who are seniors, or rather I should say 8 seniors on this varsity roster right now, and of course a good handful of them get some significant minutes.
That time there, Hanover Central again just gets sped up a little bit by the athleticism of New Haven.
But in like manner, some fast hands there from Gage Rodriguez for Hanover Central. Of course, Gage Rodriguez, not a name that we have mentioned too much here in this first half. Averaged 9 points a game a season ago for Hanover Central.
Hanover Central with their own little bit of token pressure here in the backcourt as well.
Marqualan Johnson checks into the ball game here for New Haven. He has the basketball along with Isaiah Woods and also Kyron Kendrick. So a de facto line change, to say the least, here for New Haven, and it pays off as Isaiah Woods gets on the board. Well, so far, 5 different players for New Haven are in the scorers column here in the first 6.5 minutes. And right down the left side with the left hand is Luke Ondo.
Coach will address that at quarter break, I'm sure. Can't just let them drive right down the middle of the lane.
And a tough shot taken that time by Marqualan Johnson. So now make it 6 different players for New Haven in the scorer's book. In the corner, 3 up and just off the mark that time for Hanover. Johnson back outside to Woods and nearly gets it stolen away that time. Instead, they're going to get a foul here on Schreiber.
A little too much hands there by Schreiber. Good activity, though.
By the way, that is foul number 5 here on Hanover Central, so an automatic 2 foul shots for the remainder of the quarter for New Haven. And Woods leaves that one off the mark that time.
Woods came in right away, making an impact, made a 3, active on the defensive end, got to the free throw line. Impressed by him coming off the bench.
In fact, that's one of the things that Coach Appleton has stressed he wants to make a culture of with this New Haven squad here in his first year, is a culture of defense. You see a lot of that as well, like you mentioned, from Woods. Into the final minute here of the opening period. Here is Rohde underneath, working hard at the glass and gets the and one.
Hanover Central guards do a nice job of feeding it there. They started their offensive possession there a little bit high, but if you see the back screen there, and then the nice feed and the and one for Rohde.
That is Kyron Kendrick picking up his first foul of the ball game. And this puts Rohde back at the line again for a second and one opportunity, and he has delivered both of them so far, as he already has a quick 10 points here for Hanover Central. In fact, 10 of Hanover Central's 16 points have been scored by Rohde here in this first quarter.
Coach getting him out here on this defensive possession to not get a second foul. Look to, if they get the ball back here to hold for one shot, look for him to go quickly to the scorer's table to sub back in the game.
Johnson working hard to try and get inside. A turnaround jumper is left off the mark. And a quick foul here by Kendrick will put Hanover Central now with 4 fouls, make it 5 now on New Haven. So this will put Hanover Central at the line for the remainder of the last 30 seconds of this quarter. This is Luke Ondo back at the charity stripe. Averaged 5 points a game last year. And he leaves that one off the mark that time as well. Of course, Luke Ondo came off the bench, started and came off the bench again last year because he was right there in that development. But he said it was certainly a humbling experience after he transferred in from a school where he really got a lot of playing time.
Yeah, sometimes it's that adjustment period when you go to a new school.
But Ondo misses both foul shots.
See if New Haven holds for one here. Looks like Coach wants him to.
Here is Johnson working here on Maranowicz, I should say. Johnson doing an awful lot of dribbling here as he tries to go the left side and does it himself off the mark that time. Wright tries to get the offensive rebound. It does not result in anything. And we go to the second quarter here on this one. 19-16, New Haven on top of Hanover Central going to quarter number 2 here on the ISC Sports Network.
Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't. Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't.
Some see a student athlete working on a shot. We see a powerful lesson in persistence. Some see a student preparing for success on an exam. We see a student athlete preparing for success in life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Welcome back inside Memorial Gymnasium here in Kokomo. Live coverage of the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament here on the ISC Sports Network alongside Michael Watts. I'm Kurt Darling. Second quarter here between this first of two consolation games here in the evening ladder. Hanover Central right now trailing New Haven 19-16. Coach, your thoughts there on that opening quarter?
Yeah, I think in those quarter breaks, New Haven's talking about how to deal with Rhodey a little bit, and they come out in a zone, so that's going to be their response to that. And then Hanover Central's talking about not getting sped up. Great high-low look there. Rhodey showing his passing skills as well as he finishes down there to Ondo on a high-low look against the zone.
And so Luke Ondo getting his second bucket from the field. Cuts it now to a one-point ball game, but still the three ball is falling there for New Haven. And that is Wright getting it going from behind the arc.
When New Haven's able to drive it as hard as they are and then also to be able to make some threes, that could be a long night for Hanover Central if they make threes and drive it as hard as they can.
Into the ball game for the first time here for Hanover Central is Lucas Veliska, wearing number 10. Getting inside here for Rhodey is up and in. Nicely done there again by Rhodey.
He's either scoring them or assisting on them.
Back outside, Cryer from the top of the key. Just squared that one up, had all day to do it, couldn't get it to go. And the ball stays in bounds even though Rhodey tried to get it to go out of bounds. And it's taken now by Hanover. And going up and just off the mark that time. And back outside again here for Rhodey. And Veliska will let it fly, and he hits. The sophomore in Lucas Veliska getting things going that time. Back the other side, scooping it up, and they're going to get an and one along with the bucket as there's a blocking foul coming up on Schreiber. And this will again put DeMarcus Wright back at the charity stripe.
Definitely what they call a patient whistle there. A lot of times coaches will want to know why it was so late. The officials call it a patient whistle. They want to make sure they saw what they saw and if it mattered on the play at all.
So DeMarcus Wright keeping his presence felt here now. The 6'1" junior has 5 points here in the second quarter and a steal in transition here for New Haven. Baskerville already has a three-pointer here this afternoon. He gets it inside to his big man. And coughed up and stolen away here by Hanover. Weaving his way up court is Luke Ondo, who splits into the lane and gets it with a left hand.
Crafty there, trying to get by some pressure, a little bit of a Euro step. Finished well with the left.
And just like that, it is back to a tie ball game. Scooping it up and just off the mark that time, but a foul going to be called as Cryer will go to the line. One thing that Coach Appleton has certainly tried to stress as well as a tempered competitiveness. Sometimes he says that he has to rein in these guys because they get so competitive that they lose sight of what they need to do.
You do have to have your composure and wits about you on the basketball court. You can't be so blindly, so competitive that that at times you're not thinking the game as well.
Meanwhile, Johnson coming back in. And he will come in relief here of Lavelle Ledbetter, the sophomore. Trading one sophomore for another here. Certainly a diverse team of both experience and youth for this New Haven squad this season. Cryer goes 1 of 2 at the line. He has 3 points. And New Haven, for the moment, reclaims the lead. Trying to get it inside to Rhodey that time. It's knocked out of bounds there by Dalen Jackson. New Haven keeping the hands active as well. So far, they've already forced either several stoppages or even turnovers on this end of the floor. Ondo pushes the ball inside to Rhodey.
Good angle there. He works up the angle, able to turn to that right shoulder and just lay it in. It's easier said than done, but you don't want to give a big guy like that angles in the post where he can just turn and make it.
Meanwhile, a 30-second timeout going to be called here by Brandon Appleton. Well, today's games of the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament are brought to you by Coca-Cola, who would like to welcome all of our guests to Howard County this holiday weekend. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been enriching the lives of residents of North Central Indiana since 1907. Coca-Cola of Kokomo is proud to partner with 26 schools to make sure students stay hydrated in the classroom and on the field of play. Find out more at cckokomo.com. Well, as you take a look at Coach Brandon Appleton talking things up here with his New Haven squad, what's one thing that you certainly would like to see from New Haven here as they're down by a point?
Well, I think just a little bit of more control offensively. Defensively, they didn't stay in that zone very long. It was pretty porous. I wonder if maybe they haven't worked on it a ton here in the early season. But they were back man-to-man there, and Rhodey scoring against their man and their zone.
Of course, Brandon Appleton taking over for a longtime head coach at New Haven, Bruce Stevens, who was there for 10 seasons prior to. Of course, Stevens now the athletic director at New Haven. As the Bulldogs take things up here with Johnson. He tries to spin into the lane, instead has to back it outside. Baskerville trying to drive the baseline, puts up the shot, and a foul going to be called on Hanover. And that is going to be Schreiber. And that is already 3 on him.
Despite the foul, Hanover Central doing a nice job of playing in the gaps. I think they're going to give up the three-point shot more than they want to give up the drive. Lots of people helping on the drive there as they try and get to the basket.
Baskerville back at the line for the second time today as he knocks down his first foul shot. He was 3 of 6 free throw shooting earlier this afternoon against Kokomo. As Ledbetter will check back in, this time for Jackson for New Haven. Leaves that one short, does Baskerville. 7 points for him so far today. Here is Valiska. The small sophomore getting it back here to Ondo, working it inside and stolen away here by Ledbetter. Pushed ahead by Johnson. Johnson leaves it underneath, and lots of unselfish play results in a bucket there for DeMarcus Wright.
Very unselfish interior passing. I always found the best guy to pass it to the other big guy is his buddy. The two big guys passing to each other, helping each other out.
Hanover Central now back down by 2, again trying to get it to the cutting Valiska. It's stolen away by New Haven. Back the other way comes Ledbetter, and they're going to say it's a traveling violation, or rather I should say a foul coming up. It's going to be a charge here on New Haven.
Johnson tried to set a little screen there as they were going to the basket. Wasn't set, illegal screen going the other way.
So that's the first foul on Marquelan Johnson. 2 points for him today so far.
Another unselfish play, though. I'm impressed by the unselfishness of the New Haven team.
It has certainly worked in the fast break so far. Here is Rodriguez. He has yet to get in the scorer's column today. And a timeout called by Hanover Central. Brandon Stagel going to have to talk things over here as we get a 30-second timeout in. Right now here, Michael, it just seems that Hanover Central, they go on some of these runs, but then they kind of get out of sorts and get in their own way.
Yeah, it kind of feels like one of those games, if you didn't have a scoreboard, it kind of feels like New Haven would maybe have an 8 to 10 point lead. Rhodey has obviously helped that. A couple backdoor plays has helped keep that, but if New Haven's able to sustain that pressure, it would just be interesting to see how Hanover is able to handle it.
Of course, New Haven coming out of the Fort Wayne area, Hanover Central out of the Michigan City, the region area. Believe it or not, even though two Northern Indiana teams, the first time ever that these two teams have met each other here on the hardwood. Of course, a point you made in the pregame about how these tournaments bring a whole lot of different competitors together. That's
right. A lot of matchups today that you won't see during the season, and a lot of first-time matchups as well all across the state.
And so a long pass there from Maurer. Can't find Rhodey underneath, and it's another turnover here for Hanover Central.
Tried to get it right to him on the side out of bounds play. Nobody touched it, so it'll be at the same spot for New Haven.
Hanover turned the ball over 3 times in the first quarter, and already adding a few more to that here in this second quarter. Baskerville working here on Maurer. He just loads up a 3, and that's his second of the day.
Pretty hard to defend when you're a step off the three-point line, but you still have to have those active hands so he doesn't have that clear sight line to the basket.
Rhodey underneath is blocked, and there's going to be a foul. Or no, they're going to say it's a held ball, as the ball was just touched there by Lavelle Ledbetter, and the arrow is going to give the ball back here to New Haven.
Two coaches there showing Rhodey their left hand. They really want him to finish that with his left hand there on that side of the basket.
By the way, 10 points now for Baskerville off of that made 3 the previous take. The long 3 that time from Wright doesn't go this time. Maurer pushes the ball inside. Athletic play up there by Ondo, can't quite finish. Johnson goes right down the right side, pushes it outside to Ledbetter, who puts up a 3 off the mark. The follow-up doesn't go for Wright. He gets his own rebound and he hits. Well, DeMarcus Wright had just 2 points in the first quarter. He's now gone off for 10 here in the second quarter.
Nice job staying with that, getting your own rebound, putting it right back in the hole.
Ball movement in and out here for Hanover. Ondo goes the left side, puts up the shot, going to draw the foul. And so Luke Ondo will get back to the line for the second time today, where he was 0 for 2, his first take at the charity stripe.
That seemed to be designed action there where everybody was doing some dummy action on the perimeter, and then Ondo was able to just kind of drive his man from the free throw line straight to the basket.
And Ondo still struggling at the line here as he's now 0 for 3. But still, you see how Ondo has been able to move all over the floor. He certainly knows how to navigate in traffic.
He's crafty. Again, he posted up early there, so plays a little bit bigger than he is. Plays on the interior and the exterior.
And Ondo finally hits pay dirt. And that cuts it back to a 6-point deficit. Here is Ledbetter. Underneath to Wright. Between Wright and Ledbetter, the two big men, as you mentioned earlier, Coach, working in tandem. And this time, outside, Wright keeps going hot. His second 3 of the quarter.
They work well together. New Haven is kind of that new age positionless basketball. Like, I'm not sure exactly who they think is their point guard, who they think is their center, if they even think they have one. They're just all kind of active and have lots of skill.
And a 10-second violation forced by this full court press of New Haven. As you mentioned, Coach, speed things up, and sometimes speed is a detriment to your offense.
They get the 10-second call there, even though there was the deflection by New Haven, no possession, so that 10-second count keeps going. Good job defensively by the Bulldogs.
Final minute here of this first half. First of 2 consolation games here in Kokomo for the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament. And the 3-up is not quite there for Isaiah Woods. He hit one earlier today. Still, New Haven holding on to their largest lead of the evening at 9 points. Rodriguez just tries to throw the ball inside, looking that time for Maurer. And another empty possession and a chance to get into double digits here for New Haven.
Baskerville thought about throwing the long football pass there on a fast break, but showed maturity as a sophomore there to hold it out. They'll go for one shot here to end the half.
Time winding down here as Lavelle Ledbetter patiently waiting and just loses the handle. Turned over here to Moranowitz, leaves it underneath and score there for Maurer. Still a chance here for New Haven. Right down the lane, fires a shot and draws a foul with less than a second to play. He's going to go to the line to get at least two more going to this final break here. By the way, 37-30 is your score at the moment, with New Haven on top.
What a quarter here by Wright, ready to add to it here at the end.
And so Wright going to be able to at least steal a few more points, and he has had a sensational third quarter, or rather second quarter, I should say. And he knocks it in. So the final 2 ticks of the clock will send us to halftime for this one, 39-30. Your halftime score, New Haven on top of Hanover Central. New Haven led by some stellar play in the second quarter by DeMarcus Wright, and it gives them a 9-point advantage. With Michael Watts, I'm Kurt Darling. We'll be back here for the halftime show right after this here on ISC.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Leaps ahead, still on his feet. Stevens lunges. Are you kidding me?
Champions of Marion County. Unbelievable.
Touchdown.
Living up to that last name. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate after that.
Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't. Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't.
The drive, the take, fouled, and it goes.
Lobbing it to the back of the end zone. They're going to say it's a touchdown.
Left foot gets through. Goal for Vargas. Hamilton will score.
Hey there, my name is Jake Query.
And I'm Derek Schultz.
And we are part of, actually the entirety of, at least from an on-air standpoint, Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network. It's appropriately named. It's charitably award-winning. And Derek, now we venture into season number 5. Hard to believe.
5 of them. 5 of them. Can you believe it? 2 best buds talking Colts, Pacers, Indiana sports, every Tuesday night, 7:30, ISC Sports Network, and on socials as well.
It is made possible, of course, by the people who watch and listen every single week. We are most appreciative. We look forward to season number 5.
Leaps ahead, still on his feet. Stevens lunges. Are you kidding me?
Champions of Marion County. Unbelievable.
Touchdown.
Living up to that last name. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate after that.
Halftime here of the first of 2 consolation ladder games here at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament here at day number 1 of 2 here at Memorial Gym. Alongside Michael Watts, I'm Kurt Darling. Coach, when you look at the stat sheet, what stands out to you for this first quarter as New Haven has the 9-point lead?
The first thing that jumped out is the 9 turnovers by Hanover Central. I just think the pace of New Haven is bothering Hanover Central. not being used to playing that type of opponent. 1-2, playing your second game today. We'll have to continue to see how that goes. I really think that Rhodey and Ando are going to have to carry a little bit more of a load and look to be a little more aggressive on the offensive end.
Also for New Haven in particular, you see the difference in three-point shooting as well. 5 of 9 from behind the arc as New Haven to just 1 of 3 in that entire first half for Hanover Central.
Yeah. Over 50%, obviously, not characteristic of them. We'll see if that water finds their level, because if they're able to drive the ball hard, get to the free throw line, and make three-pointers, they're going to be tough to beat and tough for Hanover Central to come back.
Indeed they will. 39-30 is your score here at halftime. We'll take another quick timeout. When we come back, we will look at some highlights from that opening half. Stick with us here at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament here on ISC.
Your life is on the go. Now your viewing habits can be on the go. With the ISC Sports Network app, your team is at your fingertips. You can download years' worth of content from the ISC Sports Network library. High school, college, special events, weekly and monthly shows, wherever you find your favorite app. And you can always find out more information at iscsportsnetwork.com.
Has it, leaps ahead, still on his feet. Stevens lunges. Are you kidding me?
Champions of Marion County. Unbelievable.
Touchdown.
Living up to that last day. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate after that.
Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't. Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't.
The drive, the take, fouled, and it goes!
Lobbing it to the back of the end zone. They're going to say it's a touchdown.
Left foot gets through. Goal for Vargas. Hamilton will score!
Hey there, my name is Jake Query.
And I'm Derek Schultz.
And we are part of, actually the entirety of, at least from an on-air standpoint, Query and Schultz on the ISC Sports Network. It's appropriately named. It's charitably award-winning. And Derek, now we venture into season number 5. Hard to believe.
5 of them. 5 of them. Can you believe it? 2 best buds talking Colts, Pacers, Indiana sports, every Tuesday night, 7:30, ISC Sports Network, and on socials as well.
It is made possible, of course, by the people who watch and listen every single week. We are most appreciative. We look forward to season number 5.
Has it, leaps ahead, still on his feet. Stevens lunges. Are you kidding me?
Champions of Marion County. Unbelievable.
Touchdown.
Living up to that last day. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can celebrate after that.
Second half about to get underway here at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament, the first of 2 consolation ladder games here in the evening of day number 1. Alongside Michael Wantz, I'm Kurt Darling. Coach, let's take a look at some first half highlights here from this game so far. Again, New Haven off to a strong start in this one.
Just really penetrate the ball hard. A couple here penetrations by their guards. Hanover Central's got to get the ball stopped a little bit earlier, and then on the other end it was all Rhodey with a couple and one opportunities for the big fella underneath.
Of course, speaking of big fellas, you saw, they work well together, both they as well as Dalen Jackson, but DeMarcus Wright really had a big game here going into the second quarter.
He was big, and just him and Ledbetter, like you say, work well together. Great interior passing, unselfish play, can drive it hard, scored at the basket, and also make a 3.
You talk about that 3 right there, Tarvar Baskerville making 1 of 2 threes right there as well, and also the younger players, Isaiah Woods coming in off the bench.
Impressed with the spark that Isaiah Woods gave him coming off the bench as just a young guy. A couple sophomores that'll be around for New Haven for a while and score some points and lead them to some wins over the years.
You talk about sophomores, Marqualan Johnson getting that shot as well. Still, New Haven had a couple leads there in the first half, but still, as we talked about before the break, 3-point shooting for New Haven has really been a big difference.
Yeah, it sure has. 5 for 9. Just something that I'm sure in the scouting report you're worried more about the dribble penetration first, and then for them to make 5 3-pointers, I'm sure Hanover Central coaching staff is scratching their head a little bit.
So when you're talking about this game all-encompassing here, Michael Watts, what do you want to see from these two teams going in the second half?
Well, I think it's just who's going to impress their will upon the other team. New Haven wants to play fast. They're all 6'4" and below. Want to play fast, drive it hard. Hanover Central wants to throw it into their big fella and Rhodey. Who's going to impose their will on each other?
Well, you certainly see two teams that have never met each other on the hardwood before. In fact, it's certainly interesting to see how these two teams have never met, given the fact that New Haven in particular has been playing high school basketball since 1922, wow, but never won a sectional until 1991. When they went to double overtime against Fort Wayne Northside. 68-67 was the final score in that one back in 1991, ending a sectional drought. But it's certainly indicative of how hard it really was to win a sectional for some schools back in the single-class tournament.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I don't know exactly how the Fort Wayne sectionals kind of played out, but you'd have Snyder and Harding up there and Concordia and the Catholic schools, and just a meat grinder for sure for some of those teams to get out of the Fort Wayne sectional.
Certainly its own sectional of death, so to speak. Certainly what you like to see, of course, right in the central Indiana area, such as the north side sectionals, such as Carmel, Westfield, all those other teams as well. Of course, when you were at Roncalli, you guys had to go to Shelbyville a time or two.
We went to Shelbyville a couple times for our sectional in the holiday tournament. We went to Marion, Indiana, played the Giants one time, Benton Central, Noblesville. Just a chance to get out and play different styles and different teams.
So going into the second half, it'll be Hanover Central with the basketball to start things off here. Again, they are down by 9. They have led by as many as 4. But so far it has been mostly New Haven in control of this one going into the second half.
One year we went to Hamilton Heights and actually played Hanover Central in the first game, and their coach was Byron Klaus, who's in this tournament leading the Portage Indians.
Indeed,
so kind
he is.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon there, maybe.
Well, somehow, Coach, I think the entirety of the coaching hierarchy, if you will, here throughout Indiana is somewhat of a game of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
It is a fraternity. I mean, there's only 400 of them in the state of Indiana, and it's a special place to coach, that's for sure.
Meanwhile, Hanover comes up empty on their opening possession here of the half. And New Haven look to pick up right where they left off, and they do exactly that with Baskerville knocking down yet another 3.
Just an impressive sophomore. His I don't know the word I'm looking for, but just how he plays, his composure, just plays way older than he is.
Meanwhile, answering with a 3 of his own that time is Henry Maurer.
3 points of possession will keep Hanover Central in it for sure.
Meanwhile, a hard play to the basket that time as Baskerville hits the deck. He's up and okay. Only the second made three-pointer by Hanover Central the entirety of this game here by Maurer.
Good look for Maurer there in the corner, had his feet set, jumped up and knocked it in.
Here is Ledbetter. And working it back up to the top here with Cryer. Ledbetter's spin-around jumper is up and short that time.
Tough shot there. I think Coach probably wanted a little bit better shot that possession.
Meanwhile, Hanover certainly looking to press a little bit more going into the lane right there as they draw a foul.
If they can get to the line, always scoring points with the clock off when you're behind is always a good thing.
Well, that's one thing that I've certainly, at least to my understanding here, Coach, is that, with the new foul rule, it doesn't surprise me that you would apply as much pressure as you can to get to that free throw shooting stage early on.
That's right.
As another 3 knocks down.
Yeah, you want to get in that double bonus early. It's for an old guy like me, it's weird not to see the 1-and-1s anymore. But, yeah, you can get to the line much quicker in the third quarter than you could have in the past.
Braden Speck, by the way, knocking down that three-pointer on the other end. That is only his second bucket of the evening. And now Hanover Central with a couple empty possessions forced on the defensive end has a chance to try and cut into this lead.
I wouldn't doubt if Coach Appleton here gets a timeout if Hanover Central scores, just to calm his team down. A couple quick shots. Don't forget how you got here, what we were doing, and get out on their shooters.
Quick 3 up and quick 3 off the mark that time for Braden Svek. Back the other way, Baskerville goes up and down.
Long shots equal long rebounds. Nobody back for Hanover Central. A quick, easy shot there for Baskerville, and boy, does he get down the court in a hurry.
Still holding on to an 8-point advantage here is New Haven as Rhodey is fouled going for a loose ball there by Ledbetter.
Good call. Ledbetter just trying to be a little bit aggressive again. Giving him angles, though, I'd be interested to see here if you almost, I'm not saying just let him catch it on the block, but Ledbetter's so big, don't give him any angles. Just be big, see if he can make a shot over you.
Rhodey along the baseline, nobody home at the top of the key, and it goes out of bounds, and another turnover here by Hanover. Of course, those turnovers, something that you talked about in the halftime show here about Hanover trying to reel it in.
And those are the ones, it's one thing if they speed you up. That really was just in the half court. That was just Rhodey trying to do too much on the baseline.
Baskerville does it all himself. Can't get the physics to work with him on that one.
That did everything but come out the bottom of the net.
Speaking of the bottom of the net, that's Henry Maurer finding it. Well, he went scoreless in the first half. He now has 5 points here in this third quarter, does Henry Maurer. Inside goes Wright. He had a stunning second quarter for New Haven. He leaves that shot short. Driving the baseline, Hanover Central there working with Braylon Svek. And looking for a foul there was Hanover. Instead it gets tapped out of bounds and it stays here with the Wildcats.
Hanover Central certainly not going away. Really impressed with their guys, their veteran players continuing to press and get good shots and know that, this game still has a lot of time.
This is a team in Hanover Central that has gotten off to an up and down start. They are now 3-3 on the season off of their loss to Maryville earlier today. But, of course, they won their first 2 games on the road, mind you, against Westville and North Newton.
I think Rhodey's bleeding a little bit from his nose. He's kind of trying to keep it from the officials because he knows he'd have to get it gauzed up or set down for a second.
But they continue play. Working it inside, and nicely done here by Hanover Central as we have a whistle and a foul away from the ball, it appears.
A little flex action off the underneath out of bounds, pretty common play.
And they're going to say that Braden Svek just stepped on the sideline when he got that ball, so that is another turnover for Hanover Central. 6-point advantage here for New Haven. Already working close to the halfway point of quarter number 3. Baskerville buying his time. Tries to get inside to Kendrick. And a heads-up play there to draw the foul there was Luke Ondo. And so Kendrick will now be charged with his 3rd foul of the ball game.
I think Ondo sold that one a little bit, but hey, why not?
Here is Gage Rodriguez. He pushes it up here to Svek. And Svek just gets it pulled right out of his hands there by Baskerville. He pushes it ahead, and knocking it home there is Kyron Kendrick.
Can't say enough about Baskerville. Just so solid. Nice bounce pass there. Good steal.
Floater up and in there, though, by Braden Svek, who's tried to get himself going here in the second quarter after only getting 2 points in the first quarter. From the elbow. Off the mark that time was Cryer. Svek again trying to push a little too hard that time. It turned over again. Pushed ahead. Kendrick up and in again.
Kendrick, the beneficiary of running the floor there, bounce passes and layups.
And a timeout going to be called here by New Haven. A full timeout going to be taken here by the Wildcats. Once again, Coca-Cola is proud to sponsor today's Phil Cox Memorial Tournament. Coca-Cola of Kokomo has been enriching the lives of residents in north central Indiana since 1907. Coca-Cola of Kokomo is also a partner with 26 schools to make sure that students stay hydrated in the classroom and on the field of play. Find out more at cckokomo.com. Michael Watts, Kurt Darling here with you, as it is still an 8-point advantage here for New Haven. Of course, this is a team here, Coach, that got off to a 1-3 start to the season, but since rattled off 3 straight wins before their loss to Kokomo earlier on here this afternoon.
And it's kind of interesting here. You are who you are, right? And New Haven plays a certain way, and that's why they're here. That's why they have the lead. However, when you're playing with a lead, I think you might want to not create offense and just let Svet go in to lay it in. I think you want to maybe peel it back a little bit and also maybe take a little more time offensively and give up good shots to get a great shot.
Meanwhile, New Haven has diversified their portfolio, so to speak, here in this second quarter, as they've now had 7 different players get into the scorers column. As, of course, that is a little bit of a 180, so to speak, from their game earlier today when most of the scoring was done by Baskerville as well as Dalen Jackson. Here comes Hanover Central. Moranowitz leaves it underneath now for the big man Doroti, and he has an easy lay-in.
See, the press, you want to speed them up, but again, you're giving up layups at the back of it, so we'll see if they stay in that, try and continue to turn them over.
Baskerville tries the floater, and there is Rhodey going hard with a big rebound down low. Schreiber looking inside here to Ando. Back outside, 3 up and 3 down again here for Hanover Central. They're starting to heat up from deep. That's Christopher Moranowitz.
3 ball will certainly keep you in the game.
And it is now a 3-point deficit. Trying to answer with a 3 of his own is Kendrick. And a whistle foul on the floor here on the Wildcats. And we also should mention here at Hanover Central, spelling Wildcats with a C as opposed to the Wildcats with a K that you see here for the Kokomo Wildcats here at Memorial Gym. By the way, the first time they started spelling it Wildcats with a K was in the 90s, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes. It is quite a young moniker considering the longevity of the Kokomo Wildcats. Here is DeMarcus Wright. He's gone cold here in this third quarter after going off for several points. He has 17 on the night in the second quarter. Shot off the mark there for Johnson. And just like that here, Coach, Hanover Central has a chance to tie this game up.
Baskerville out here with a bum lip, so he goes out when they're up 3. We'll see how that continues to go.
That was Moranowitz with the Euro step, cutting it to 1. It is a 7-0 run here for Hanover Central.
When your name's Maranovic, is it the Eastern European step or is it just the Euro step?
My money is on the Eastern European.
I have a feeling you had to work on some of those Slavic names we see from the region there in this game.
Of course, they have another kid, Hanover Central, Lucas Valiska, who is Lukas.
Of course.
Also, Owen Sosnowski on this roster as well here for Hanover Central. (48-47). New Haven has led this game by as many as 9 points, and Hanover Central finding some life here in the latter portions of this third quarter.
Baskerville back in here after getting his lip looked at, so he's ready to be the floor general again.
Inside, Rhodey gets it poked out of bounds from behind that time as Jackson pushes it out of bounds. You certainly see just how hard that Brad Rhodey works down low. In fact, he's, as we talked about his athletic ability earlier on in the first quarter, well, he's also a relief pitcher for the Hanover Central Wildcats in the spring. He has a 90-mile-an-hour fastball in his arm.
When you're 6'6", and it's almost like you're just dropping that ball over the plate by the time you stretch and throw that baseball 60 feet 6 inches.
Off the mark that time from Ando on the other end. Here is Baskerville, who has been absolutely stellar today. He has 15 points for New Haven. Woods loads it up from the corner, and he hits. 2 3-pointers today now for Isaiah Woods.
I don't know if I'll have the chance to work a New Haven game again in the next couple years, but I'll sure as heck be watching their scores. With a couple sophomores, wow. These sophomores are really good.
Rhodey into the corner with Moranowitz. Left wing three is up and in there for Benjamin Schreiber. Well, Coach, they only had one made three the entirety of the first quarter. They have four here in this third quarter. Up and in there, Baskerville again goes right to the rim.
Baskerville answers with 7 in this quarter as well. But yeah, New Haven's going to have to get out on shooters, make Hanover Central put it on the floor.
Still a 3-point ball game. New Haven has not surrendered the lead since early in the second quarter. And a tough play to the rim that time is Maurer as he hits the deck.
Need a great shot here. Good.
Final 30 seconds and just one too many steps taken there by Isaiah Woods. And now Hanover Central, as you would certainly hope there from New Haven on that possession, need a big shot here to try and tie this game up.
Isaiah Woods there, and young kids will do that sometime. He just gets that one hand on the ball and you go back to throw it with just one hand, then it's not open. By the time you get that second hand there, you've already traveled. So tip for the young kids there against pressure, keep that second hand close to the ball as you're getting ready to pass it.
Owen Sosnowski now back in here for the Wildcats. 30 seconds left here in the third period.
Worst case here, Hanover Central wants to go into the timeout here just down 3. They don't want to give Hanover Central another look.
Instead, the three is good there for Schreiber. A tie ball game here for Hanover Central.
They'll take that.
Back-to-back threes for Ben Schreiber. And he now has 8 points. Baskerville with the delayed layup does not get that one to go. And we are tied at 53 going to the fourth and final quarter here of this consolation ladder game at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament. Alongside Michael Watts, I'm Kurt Darling, back in a moment here on ISC.
Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't. Have you been injured at work? Visit your work injury lawyers at indianaworkers.com. We help injured workers. For a free consultation, go to indianaworkers.com, a division of Galitko and Daly. We go to work when you can't.
Some see a student athlete working on a shot. We see a powerful lesson in persistence. Some see a student preparing for success on an exam. We see a student athlete preparing for success in life. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
A 23-14 third quarter for Hanover Central knots this game at 53 points apiece as we go to the final period of regulation here at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament. Michael Watts, Kurt Darling here with you, Coach. 6 lead changes now in this contest and only 4 turnovers after having 9 in that first half for Hanover Central in that third quarter.
Yeah, definitely a lot of the momentum with Hanover Central. I did see a couple of their guys look pretty gassed. They're going to have to gut this one out for sure. See if New Haven can get some better shots and get the ball to go in the hole.
Tarvar Baskerville with 17 points now leading the way here for New Haven, along with 17 from DeMarcus Wright, but all of those 17 for Wright coming in the first half. Meanwhile, another turnover forced here on New Haven by Hanover. Well, a resilient effort here by the Wildcats here in this second half. They were down by as many as 9, and they've cut this one back. Rhodey somehow gets the ball underneath by a nifty pass from up top that time from Schreiber.
Really impressed by the action they run to get Rhodey open on the block. A lot of back screens, a lot of pick and rolls and pops.
And the ball sailing out of bounds. They're going to say there's a foul coming up here on Hanover. This will be Rhodey picking up his second, I believe.
He's done a nice job. He got that first one pretty early in the first quarter, so he's played several minutes without picking up that second foul.
So back at the line here is going to be Darian Cryer. And by the way, this is his second trip to the foul line here this afternoon as he knocks down his second foul shot. He is now 2 of 3 at the line today. Cryer had 8 points against Kokomo earlier on this afternoon. He was 3 of 4 shooting from the field. And that at least quells the Hanover Central run going back to the third quarter.
So the pressure for New Haven here, they're extended to the full court. That's not really what has hurt Hanover Central. It's just the pressure in the half court that has sped them up a little bit.
Rohde goes inside, blocked from behind that time, Ledbetter. Rohde wanted a foul, no whistle that time. Same thing from Coach Stengel, he wanted a whistle as well.
Seemed clean from my angle. I know it's hard for that big guy to realize somebody blocked his shot, but it looked clean and sounded clean.
What a big pass that time as the second effort goes for Dalen Jackson off of the assist there from Dalen Cryer.
He got up on that second jump to put that in quickly.
Well, Jackson has had a tough game here in this second game today. Again, he had 18 points against Kokomo, but now he only has 4 here in this game against New Haven.
Yeah, haven't heard much from him and turned it over there early. See if he'll settle down there. That was a great offensive rebound.
Hanover Central again down 2. Here is Sosnowski up top here to Rohde. He goes along the right side and puts it up with a right hand. Leaves it short. And the foul going the other way here as Chris Maranovitz went a little bit too hard that time into the back of Darian Cryer.
Good strong drive by Rohde there. Just couldn't get it to go down.
Six minutes left to play here in regulation. Baskerville, uncontested. 20 points for Baskerville here in this second game.
Little handoff there from Johnson, and Johnson squeezed Baskerville's defender. He was able to put it in.
And now a turnover forced here by Jackson. Ooh. And they're going to call an intentional foul here on Sosnowski, as Dalen Jackson went hard to the deck that time. Coach Stengel not exactly happy with the intentional foul call. It was certainly a little bit hard there, but either way, this will be 2 foul shots in the ball here for New Haven.
That's a tough one. Coach Stengel's saying he was going for the ball. I think sometimes, is it an intentional foul? Is it a flagrant foul? Is it a hard foul? But Gary Chambers is the only one that matters, whose opinion matters, and he said it was an intentional foul.
By the way, Gary Chambers, Justin Markley, as well as Corbin Cruea are our officials for this consolation ladder game.
They've done a nice job. When you don't really know the officials or pay much attention to the officials, you know they're doing a good job.
1 of 2 at the line here for Jackson, but now New Haven gets an extra possession. Trying to add to their 6-point lead are the Bulldogs. And Baskerville called for the travel as he sets his feet, trying to go on the dribble drive. Hanover Central tries to get the ball in, and they're going to call a timeout here. Will the Wildcats, a 30-second timeout to try and talk things over. Well, Coach, I mentioned earlier about how the Bulldogs had a slow start to the season, 1-3 on the year before winning 3 straight. Well, Coach Appleton said that they had a lot of issues in those first 4 games where they just kind of had to work things out beyond an X's and O's standpoint. Sometimes literally the game goes beyond the playmaking as opposed to just kind of getting things figured out from a chemistry standpoint.
Yeah, chemistry, teamwork, playing for each other, especially when you have 2 sophomores that play quite a bit. But Coach Appleton definitely knows what he was doing, and he's able to get that put together. Another game yet here tomorrow where they're looking to maybe go 2-1 before they go back home tomorrow, and then head into that tough Northeast State Conference schedule here later in January.
Of course, you mentioned the Northeast State. Belmont, Leo, Norwell, East Noble, Columbia City in particular. In fact, Belmont and Columbia City both playing over in the Delta tournament earlier this afternoon, both of them coming up short to their opponents as well. 5.5 minutes left to play here in Kokomo. Here is Moranowitz.
Rhodey does a nice job in the middle of that press offense. He's a big target in there, can handle a little bit once they break it. The press is always, the press is always vulnerable in the middle.
And also Baskerville has been active on the offensive end, but forcing that ball out of bounds that time and applying even more pressure as the long pass again does not work for Hanover, and it's another turnover.
They've tried that direct pass to Rhodey off the side out twice. Neither one has worked.
In the corner, Johnson leaves that short. And we have a whistle and a foul in transition coming up. It looks like it's away from the ball. And they're going to get Marqualan Johnson of New Haven with it. And that is number 3 on Johnson. So Kyron Kendrick with 2 fouls and Marqualan Johnson, both bench players here for New Haven, each with 3 fouls. And so here we'll see DeMarcus Wright check back in. And, Coach, it has certainly been noticeable how absent he has been from the scorer's column here in the second half.
Yeah, nothing noticeable as far as a change in the defense from Hanover Central, but he, after that big 15-point quarter.
Here's a steal in the transition, and a layup is good for Dalen Jackson, who's getting his scoring going here in the second half. Hanover Central working in the fast break as well, and leaving it short again is Moranowitz. Baskerville, he has 20 points tonight. And now if you're New Haven, even though you have the 7-point lead, you can start thinking about milking some clock, but also getting quality baskets like that from Ledbetter.
Great backdoor cut, great find. Those are the type of baskets you want. I don't think you want your non-shooters shooting threes in these last 4 minutes. Great back cut, great finish by Ledbetter.
And Coach, unless I'm mistaken, that was the first bucket by Lavelle Ledbetter all evening.
That's correct.
That's now 8 different players here for New Haven who have gotten into the scorer's column as we have a foul on the other end, again on the aforementioned Ledbetter.
He does do a lot of things, though. He can handle the basketball. He's got several rebounds, several assists, good defender as well. So he's more than just scoring.
New Haven was one of the teams that was heavily impacted by the COVID heartbreak from back in the 2019-2020 season. They went 18-6 that year, won the sectional championship, their first in many, many years, until the pandemic shut everything down.
Yeah, I felt bad for those teams that weren't able to continue to play. Although I guess you say only 4 teams in the state of Indiana gets to win their last game, but about 64 won their last game then. And if you remember, the IHSAA regionals were about the last things to shut down. They went into Friday afternoon still planning to play those until they finally shut it all down.
In fact, I was due to call a game at the Greencastle Regional that year and literally found out that the game was canceled the day of.
That's right.
Here is Moranowitz working inside to Rhodey, using that physical frame, and he draws the foul. And there you hear Brandon Appleton pleading with his team here on defense here as they let that one go. Two foul shots here for Brad Rhodey. And this is the first time at the line that he is shooting the variety of 2 shots. He has 2 and 1 free throws made today. He is 3 for 3 at the line.
Down 9 with just under 4 minutes to go. You certainly like points with the clock off here. You need both of these, and then you need to string some stops together.
New Haven has forced 13 Hanover Central turnovers. That was at the end of the third quarter. Here is Baskerville.
Just a great floor general here. You want to get some.
Ooh. And they're going to call a 5-second call here on Baskerville.
Good job by Moranowitz on the 5-second call. Got to break that plane. Something that the young sophomore will learn playing against pressure, I'm sure, in the Fort Wayne area.
Of course, Christopher Moranowitz, also a sophomore for Hanover Central. Lots of second-year players here between these two ball clubs as Hanover Central trying to get the cut. 3 ball on the way. On that is short from Schreiber, but the offensive rebound is up and in for Luke Ondo. 9 points for Ondo here this evening.
Right back to 6 here.
Well, the lead has not gotten any larger than 10 either way as the shot goes up there for Ledbetter, and he's fouled. And they're going to give this one to Maurer, his first. 3 fouls apiece right now here as we work through the 3 minutes and 15 seconds left to play in regulation. So this will put Ledbetter at the line for the first time this evening, and he knocks down his first one. Ledbetter, by the way, had 14 points against Kokomo earlier tonight. He also led the team in assists with 6 assists in that game against the Wildcats.
That part doesn't surprise me. He does see the floor really well. Those are 2 big free throws to extend the lead back to 8.
4 points for Ledbetter here in this second game today. Ooh. And a whistle. And a foul going to be called here on New Haven. It looks like it's going to be Cryer picking up the foul.
Again, Coach Appleton knows his team more than anybody. I just don't know with an 8-point lead with 3 minutes to go, you want to be fouling them 60 feet from the basket.
Maurer feeling the pressure now here from Cryer. Clock inside 3 minutes. Hanover Central running out of time to try and put a run together here, but Rohde tries to get things going underneath, and a timeout called here by Coach Bradley Stengel. Well, if you're going to get shots, Coach, you certainly want them to come in that variety as it now cuts to a 67-61 lead here for New Haven.
Right there at the basket. Again, they keep giving Rohde some angles. If you notice his bucket before, he was able to go to his left hand. He didn't really want to. I would shade him a little bit on his left shoulder, his right shoulder, so he has to turn to that left hand. New Haven wants to take care of the ball here. You don't want to take the air out of it and stall for 3 minutes, but you do want to get a great shot.
So again, on the scorebook, it should say 67-61 at the moment right now. It's 2 minutes and 53 seconds left to play here in this ball game. Well, one thing about Hanover Central in particular here, Coach, that certainly want to talk about as well. We talked about Luke Ondo an awful lot. We haven't mentioned Gage Rodriguez an awful lot either. Well, Gage Rodriguez was one of the holdover players from a long time ago that has come up through this Hanover Central squad all the way from elementary school to middle school and into high school. Well, Luke Ondo comes in again. He transferred in between his freshman and sophomore year, and it was one of those things where they really didn't speak to each other up until the first game of the regular season, their first year together. But at the same time, Coach Stengel says that they have such good chemistry in spite of that fact as they've worked together to try and get this team back in the right direction.
You know, Gage Rodriguez hasn't scored, but he's had a couple nice passes. One time he was posting up really hard, allowed one of his teammates to get to the basket. There's a part of me that loves that story, that it's like, no, you're not going to come in here and just take our team over, that you have to earn it a little bit. And it sounds like Luke Ondo has earned the trust of his teammates.
He likened it, believe it or not, to the show The Odd Couple between these two players, as there's a turnover on the inbound, as the inbound was going to Ledbetter, who turned his head away, lost the ball, goes to Hanover Central, and they get the bucket. But now there's a player for Hanover Central down on the far baseline. So again, you look at this again, it hit Ledbetter in the shoulder, and then coming up with it is Moranowitz, who then takes a spill to the floor after getting that shot, and it looks like he hurt his ankle, or his leg at least, somewhat bad here. And so there's going to be foul shots that have to be taken here, I believe, because there was an and one off that shot hit by Chris Moranowitz.
I think they just blew the whistle because he was down here, Kurt, I believe.
And you might be correct. Indeed, that is the case. So no foul shots here, but still, Chris Moranowitz, well, going out hard right there. He gets the bucket to cut it to 4, but unfortunately it cost him at least his leg at the moment here as he gets that looked at on the sideline.
Unfortunate turnover there as Ledbetter was cut in the middle. He just wasn't looking for the ball.
And just like that, it is a 4-point ball game. Important possession here now for New Haven.
A strange turn of events. Hanover Central's actually speeding up New Haven a little bit.
3 on the way is up and out there for Ledbetter. Loose ball, Ledbetter somehow comes down with it, and he turns it over trying to get it inside.
No need for that, no need for that. Great job by DeMarcus Wright to keep that play going to get that offensive rebound.
2.5 minutes left to play.
Back screen for Rhodey here. Good job by Ledbetter getting around it.
Maurer leaves it for Schreiber. He loses the handle. Taken up here by Jackson, who goes right to the rim. It gets poked out of bounds. They're saying it's going to be a foul here on Hanover Central.
Hanover Central fans on the other side thought that he just lost it there. You know, earlier you talked about the Terre Haute blue there. You don't really see that light blue and maroon together. I really like it. The old Loyola Marymount used to wear that back in the day.
The old baby blue.
That's right.
3 ball up and down for a big shot from Baskerville.
Tried to draw the foul too by falling down. The referees did not fall for it.
2 3-pointers by Baskerville, though, in this fourth quarter. He has 23 points to lead New Haven. Trying to answer here on the other side is Schreiber. Off the mark with his jump hook into the lane. Ondo comes back with the rebound. Schreiber tries to answer with another 3. Off the mark there, but another offensive rebound by Rhodey. And turned over inside here by Hanover.
Ooh.
Up and in the flush. Pushed ahead there by Dalen Jackson.
Earlier when he had that tip in on that second shot, I knew that he had those hops on him. A nice finish there. Probably the exclamation point here with just 70 seconds left.
Hanover Central misses the first one there with Schreiber. And the subsequent offensive rebound doesn't go for Luke Ondo either. And a foul coming up here on New Haven. And Coach Appleton not at all happy, even though you get that flush there from Jackson. Not at all happy with the fact that they're committing fouls here with 65 seconds to play.
Yeah, he wanted him to get that rebound, and then again Baskerville. There you've got Ondo behind the basket. Even if he scores the 2, the clock keeps running. That's not where you want to foul him down there.
Still, though, Ondo has struggled at the line today. He is now 1 of 5 in that regard with that miss. And as I mentioned, foul shooting, a bit of an issue here for Hanover Central here in this contest. And 2 foul shots don't go for Ondo. But getting behind the coverage again is Jackson for back-to-back shots. And Dalen Jackson has picked things up here in the final quarter. He now has 9 points alone by himself here as he gets this big shot in transition.
Miscommunication there by Hanover Central. Didn't know that there was a player behind.
And New Haven now holding on to an 11-point lead with 61 seconds left in this ball game. The largest lead of the ball game by either squad. And so certainly looking ahead to tomorrow, New Haven going to try and at least play for a 4th or 5th place position here in this consolation ladder after getting that loss to Kokomo earlier on today.
Tough draw to come in and get the, you probably know this, Kurt, but when these teams host these holiday tournaments, there's not really a draw. Kokomo knows who they want to play, which really surprised me and good for them for playing New Haven first, which was a tough matchup for them, although they gapped them there at the end.
So again, of course, we have more coverage coming up here in a little bit on the ISC Sports Network as Plainfield will be taking on Greensburg in the second consolation ladder game. Portage getting a big win over Plainfield earlier today. They were down 18 in the third quarter and came back to beat the Quakers. So it'll be Greensburg and Plainfield coming up here in this next game. You can catch that right around about 7:45 here on the ISC Sports Network. Final minute here of this one here as Hanover Central tries to at least stop some of the bleeding here for this one, as just keeping it in bounds, working it inside, a tough shot, nothing there for Braden Sveck. Blocked from behind there by Maurer as Jackson was trying to go up for yet another shot inside.
Jackson trying to get up to his average here late in the game with some runouts.
Meanwhile, Darian Carter back at the line, or rather Darian Cryer, I should say. He made his last 2 free throws earlier on here in this quarter. And he misses that one. He's now 2 of 4 at the line. Five fouls for both teams now, so both are shooting free throws for the remainder here of the final 36 seconds. Six points for Cryer tonight. And New Haven just going to try and bring this one home as another empty possession for Hanover Central. Getting behind the coverage again is Jackson. He gets another flush to add a cherry on top of this one, as New Haven will likely come away now here with their 5th win on the season. Rhodey adds a 3-pointer to try and pad his average here. But in the final 10 seconds, it has been all New Haven. So time ticks down here, and a foul late in this one here as Veliska gets a little bit of a touch there on Ledbetter. So why not add a few more foul shots here while we're at it? So Lavelle Ledbetter will be able to add at least a little bit to his average now. He has 4 points. So the Bulldogs will get their 5th win on the season. Of course, they have yet to figure out who they will be playing tomorrow. But of course, after this tournament, they will go back home to face Fort Wayne Snyder before going on the road at DeKalb. Final score in this one, 78-66. New Haven comes away with a big win over Hanover Central. Coach, a gritty win to say the least here for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, actually very impressed with both teams. The young guys for New Haven putting pressure on the ball, finishing, making some threes. And then also impressed with Hanover Central continuing to fight, making those shots in the 3rd and 4th quarter to keep them in the game.
Definitely. Well, we'll go ahead and, of course, step aside at the moment. Of course, stay right here on ISCSportsNetwork.com as the final game of the day in the consolation ladder will have Plainfield and Greensburg going at it here to close out day number 1 here at the Phil Cox Memorial Tournament. For Michael Wantz, I'm Kurt Darling, saying so long for now here from Kokomo.
Living up to that last name. Wabash has the lead for the first time today. Said that was going to be a highlight reel. Oh, baby.
Yeah, you can